Hello, everybody. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Manifest Destiny and focus in on one of the most famous pictures in United States history. So famous, in fact, the state of Illinois says every student must observe, analyze, and interpret it. And that's what it's been like for a number of years. So parents, family members, everybody's familiar with this picture. Manifest Destiny is all about moving west. So we see here a map of westward expansion. And on the screen, I'm moving my mouse. We have the original 13 colonies along the Atlantic Ocean. Following the Revolutionary War, we gained a lot of territory. Then in 1803, we have the Louisiana Purchase, doubling the size of the United States. Territory gained after a lot of times is going to be done through either conquest or bartering with other nations. So today we're going to be discussing that westward trend or our God-given right to move west. So we can see here, just to recap, the original United States, originally the 13 colonies and then the 13 original states. Everything's going to be east of the Appalachian Mountains over here. Following the Revolutionary War, and the Treaty of Paris and the creation of the United States, we gain about over 2/3 of the country after the Revolutionary War. So this area is gained by treaty with Britain in 1783, and there we have wonderful Naperville, Illinois, gained in that time. It's going to be land east of the Mississippi River. Following, we have the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, doubling the size once again. By 1850, the western border is going to be the Pacific Ocean from Oregon to California. So this is a lot of land in a very short amount of time. Now, as we know, there were already people living here. We have Native Americans living in this territory, former Spanish and French colonists still living in this area, and other Americans that have went west prior to actual territorial acquisition. So while there are people living out west, there's not a very high population of these people, particularly compared to the original 13 states along the Atlantic Ocean. We see here a number of different pieces of art that are depicting the urge, that American need to move westward. Here's a great one, Westward, The Course of Empire by Emmanuel Lutz. He's also going to be famous for that picture of Washington crossing the Delaware River. Art like this became very popular during the early and mid 1800s as Americans started to try to conquer and claim all of that newly acquired territory. So right now we're going to break down one of the most famous images in American history. Your mission, please, please, please accept it, is to fight the urge to do too much right away. So we're going to explain this. We're going to first observe the painting, and you're actually going to pause the video on Edpuzzle, and it's going to ask you some questions to fill out. Then we are going to analyze what our observation means, and then we're finally going to interpret. Now, as you get the hang of this, you're going to get really good at it. But it's really important we follow the 1, 2, 3 step. Observe, analyze, and interpret. Sometimes the image is going to be much more difficult to understand what the artist is trying to tell us. So this historical method is just a great way of showing we have to stop, observe what we actually see, analyze what some of these images may mean, and then interpret them for our own historical analysis. So here's the image. People sometimes refer to this image as manifest destiny, and that's going to be our key word for the unit, manifest destiny. And this is a big image. So we're just going to pause. And what you're going to do is observe first. What are some of the things that you see? So you're going to write that on our Edpuzzle and just come up with a list of as many things as you see. Don't just look at the giant white lady that's floating. What are some things that she has? So now that you've paused, I'm just going to point out a few things to make sure that you hit it. Obviously, we have in the middle this giant floating person. We have in the background what appears to be a city, a harbor with ships, more industrialized area. She's laying down telegraph wire in case you actually thought it was a telephone wire. Telegram is going to be the preferred communication. In her hand, it literally just reads school book as she's talking about education. We have Native Americans seemingly going off frame here, and farmers and people that are settling this land in the forefront. In the back, we have buffalo moving around, some other native tribes as well, and just a lot's happening. This is a big picture. So then we've identified some of the material, the trains, the carts. People seem to be in motion. They're going from one direction of the painting to the other direction of the painting. I always also like to notice what the color scheme's like. So we have where the cities are, it's much lighter with the sun, and clouds and darkness over on the left side of the painting. Our next step is going to be analyze. So you're going to take a second and just pick a few of those observations and explain what you think they mean. What are the natives representing? What about the colonies? What about the lights, the city, the direction the painting's moving? We're very clearly moving this direction. So just pause and write down what we think some analysis of this painting could be. So I always like to say, how is the left portion different from the right? So we clearly see this is more Western territory that was received or purchased after the creation of the United States. Darker, much less people over here. Now what we would call Westward civilization or European civilization. We're making the natives flee the area. We have the light of the city over here. Almost progress is following, or what we would consider European progress is following. Okay, the big analysis question. Who is the giant flying lady? So we're actually going to pause for a second and you are going to write down your theory of who this lady is. All right, so to tell you, this is a symbol of the United States prior to the Statue of Liberty and Uncle Sam becoming the symbol of the United States. So she represents America, virtue, goodness, spreading American ideals. She's spreading technology, she's spreading education. She symbolizes the virtue of the United States. Our last step's going to be interpretation. So take a second and what do you think the artist is trying to say or show by this picture? Something, there's a deeper meaning in every art form. What do you think that deeper meaning is? All right, and now that we're back to it, we can kind of explain a little bit of what the artist is trying to say. So he's representing westward expansion or manifest destiny, our God given right to go west. We're spreading American culture westward. We're bringing farm tools, technology, telegrams, education. We're removing the natives from this area, and we, the United States, are settling this land. So this is what the picture actually looks like today. I always forget about that. So if you go to the museum where this is at, this is what it's going to look. Very faded over the years. The title of this painting is actually American Progress and is created by John Gass. Looks very different in person as it does when it's been digitally restored to what we see. So is this progress is the big question that we grapple with in U.S. history. If we were to ask an American from the 1800s, they would say absolutely. But we have to kind of grapple with this. Is this actually progress? So take a second and answer. There is no right or wrong answer here. Do you think this is progress? So we're going to define the term manifest destiny. Manifest destiny literally means the idea that the United States was destined to expand across the continent. It is our God given right to go from the east coast of the country all the way to the west coast, from sea to shining sea. It is ordained. This land is the land of the United States. And if you want to be a good American, you are going to get your family, you're going to go west, you're going to farm, you're going to establish cities, you are going to claim this land for America. And we see in some other art forms, clearly going west with the wagon trains that we've become very familiar with. These are actual photographs from that time period. So, American Progress by John Gast shows us the average American in the early 1800s believes it is their duty and destiny to claim land west of the Mississippi River, to move there and to start populating the continental United States.